free the refugee.
Free the refugees!
The very fact that the government has come up with this flawed US deal shows that they know that Manus and Nauru is not sustainable. They know that they've got to finish Manus and Nauru, and the answer is not to try and ship them off to the US, not to try and find some third country. The answer is to bring them here. So what we're saying is the US deal isn't clear, bring the refugees to safety here. The US deal isn't clear, bring the refugees to safety here. The US deal isn't clear, bring the refugees to safety here. So we've got one more speaker today, and I'd like to welcome Miriam Salameh. Miriam is a Syrian refugee and artist who came to Australia 3 years ago.
When I left Syria, I fled a country which was and is still being destroyed, a country that is being wiped out. I left behind innocent people who are being tortured and massacred. I left behind homes, schools, hospitals, markets and bakeries which get targeted and bombed using explosive barrels and internationally banned weapons. I left behind people who live under siege, people who stay only to face starvation and a slow, painful death. Leaving Syria was a forced departure. We didn't choose to leave our country with our own will. All of this has happening for the last 6 years. 6 years of suffering, death, starvation, forced displacement and bombing. 6 years and the international community hasn't taken a single serious step to stop this war crime. As a Syrian and Australian, I call on the Australian government to bring in people according to their horrific situation, not according to whether they are minority or majority, not whether they are Christian or Muslim. I ask for the government not to neglect those helpless refugees stranded in camps with nothing in favor of those that can find sponsorship. I demand the government to close the detention center, which destroyed the lives of people who only want to live in safety and dignity. Australia's current policies of deportation and detention sound too similar to those of Trump. They are not something to be proud of. They are not a model for the world to follow. Irrespective of religion, irrespective of race, irrespective of ethnicity, irrespective of class and gender. This would be true Australian policies. Thank you.
Hello. Can you please tell the viewers your name, your purpose, your vision, and what you're doing here today?
I'm here to support people who are against refugees being kept in detention centers in Nauru and Manus. We want them to be freed so that they can come to Australia and live a normal life. Because they are suffering in the camps, they are living in harsh conditions.
Well, what is the connection between this rally and the Prime Minister of Australia, Malcolm Turnbull, and the President of the United States of America?
It's about their policies, like for Donald Trump. He tried to ban Muslims from entering the United States, but that one has been stopped by the courts. So they have some racist policies towards minorities, people like me, and we're against that. So we don't like their policies. So we're doing rallies across the world to put pressure on them to drop off their racist policies and to have policies that support all people. Yeah.
What is your message to the government today?
The government needs to free the refugees from the camps. They should come to Australia and live a normal life. And the government should stop. We should stop the racism in the country. The government should listen to the indigenous people and listen to what kind of problems they have. Because the indigenous people, they have suffered for so many years, they are still suffering. So the government should talk to them and try to resolve their issues, and so that everyone can be happy and so we can have peace across the country.
What's your take about refugees and asylum seekers being labeled as terrorists?
It's just the people, the politicians and all those people who are against refugees and migrants coming to this country, they will use terrorism as a reason to support their claims and say these are terrorists coming. No, it's not true. These are normal people who have been suffering wars in their countries. They're running from wars and they're coming here. They need our help, so we need to help them. We can't call them as terrorists. Even those people, they say Muslims are terrorists. No, it's just 99.99% of Muslims are peaceful people. The people who are terrorists cannot even make 1% of the Muslim population. So how can the whole of Muslims being regarded as terrorists?
Are you a Muslim?
Of course I am.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And you are not a terrorist?
Yeah, they think so, yeah.
And what is the meaning of this? I can see you using this all the time. Stop racism now.
Yeah.
What is the...
It's just a sign, it's a message. It has the message there that stop racism now. It tells people to, it's clear. There's no complication there. You see it and you know what it's about. It's about stopping racism now. So even without talking, I just show it like this to people, they understand what I'm about. So
How long have you been doing this for? And where did you start?
It's a long story, but I've been doing this for 3 years.
And in conclusion, how did you end up with the police using, is it pepper spray?
Yeah, I was
on something. What happened? Can you just briefly
I was just doing my normal campaign against racism, and on the streets where I was standing, that spot where I was standing, the police allowed me to be there. But the same police also came and pepper sprayed me. So, but the police is a large force. There are some good police officers and there's some bad police officers. The good cops and the bad cops.
Yeah.
The good cops allowed me to be there. Then the bad cops came and pepper sprayed me and arrested me.
So generally now, in conclusion, what is your peace message to the world, to terrorists, to government, to politicians, and everyone, and to our African brothers? Originally, I'm from Africa. Originally, you are from Africa. So please share this.
And the thing is, we have to. The message is we have to stop racism. You know, we have to stop racism. We might look different. But we're all one people. We all belong to the one race, the human race. So we should treat each other like brothers and sisters. We should care for one another. But the problem comes when people think so much about themselves and money and forget about the welfare of other people, leaving them to suffer. So we're kind of living in a capitalist society. So we don't want capitalism. It makes people more poorer and others more richer and brings more suffering. So we need to abolish capitalism. We need to think more about humans and think about money. You know, this world is temporary. You know, we're coming and we're going. Everyone wants to live a good life, but we can't live good life at the expense of other people, leaving other people to suffer. So we need to share, help one another. We're all brothers and sisters. So that's the message. Yeah.
And to our African brothers, youth that are being radicalized in the community, doing some things unlawfully and making the media to take advantage of the African people here. What do you have to say to the younger Africans? You know, they dominated the news recently.
No, those guys, of course, first of all, before you can condemn them, you need to look at the problems, you know, why they are like that. So the problem needs to be tackled from the roots. You know, it's not the rebels who cause the troubles of the world. It's the troubles of the world that causes the rebels to rebel. So we need to be tackled from the roots to prevent more young people ending on the wrong path. So we need to first of all tackle the issue of racism in this country. We need young people to be working, and because if they're working, they'll be able to support themselves. They'll be independent. Because now without work, many are relying on the welfare of the dole for survival, and life on the dole is tough. It's not easy. It's a life of poverty and suffering where many people become vulnerable, exposed to dangers. And the other thing is we are marginalized in the society. We're socially alienated, and all this leads to the wrong path. So it's a big issue. So we need to racism needs to be tackled. They need to be working and supporting each other. So we need employment and fighting racism. And again, love, treating one another, looking after one another. Because if we all look after one another, there wouldn't be people suffering. So now you're seeing people on the street, the homeless people.
Yeah, people sleeping on the streets. Even in Australia, it amazed me.
It's because there are a lot of free rooms across the country. There are people who have homes, and we have homeless people. But if we look after one another, there wouldn't be people on the streets. So these people are on the streets because people don't care about them. But if we care about one another, there wouldn't be problems. There wouldn't be gangs on the street. There wouldn't be people, attacking. Those people who are attacking, they have problems because they want to survive. They're coming out because they want to survive, and they're taking the wrong path. So we need to help other people so that they cannot become vulnerable to attack the society and cause more problems. So that's the message.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jafari. Stop racism. It's been nice talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. Our viewers, this is our community live showing on Channel 31, Melbourne, Australia. My name is ADENIYI EKINE. We shall be back after this time out. Don't blink your eyes.